Wilson Avenue. Oh, we had this business right there.
Yeah. Coleman Mitchell.
Yes, yes, but home. We moved up there. Well, he could, since he has moved property behind me, because that's nice, it must be a lot behind me.
Not on the agenda per se.
Well, yeah, we can't act on it.
Right.
I got it. Oh, okay.
See if I saw her. Oh, yes.
John Taylor.
We're going to call this meeting to order. Will you please join us in a salute to our nation's flag, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for that. Carol, let the record show that Supervisors Cassiola, Agizio, Fisher, Barney, and Schifani are in attendance. In addition, Jack King, our Township Manager, Assistant Township Manager, Sean Bukovinsky, our Chief of Police, Ted Wolford, our Fire Chief, Dan Miller of South Point, Supervisor, South Bridge EMS, our Engineer, Dan Dizeroth, and Solicitor Gretchen Moore. Before we get to citizens' comments, I have a couple things. I would ask that everybody join us in a moment of silence for a longtime township resident and township supporter. It was Arlene Curry. She passed away recently, and I'd please ask that you join us in a moment of silence, please. I want to mention a couple things about Arlene. She, as you're probably aware, she was our former Cecil postmaster for a lot of years. She also organized the Christmas Eve blood drive down to the American Legion, and it's still going on today. She started it, I don't know how many years ago, but it still goes on today. She was past president of the Cecil Township number 3 Fire Department Auxiliary, and she spent a lot of years there helping the fire department raise money. And support them in their efforts and their labor efforts that they did for festivals and carnivals and things like that. She also was a wreath layer at the National Cemetery of the Allegheny up until, I think, just until she couldn't do it any longer, but she did that for many years once it started. And she's also a member and a past officer in the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board. So, I mean, there's very few people like that that volunteer like that, and we sure would like it to continue, but we've got to appreciate what she did for us. And also, this time, we have somebody who worked for the township. It was Randy Roberts. He's just recently retired from our Public Works Department. I think he started with the department when he was 12 years old, because he's not very old now, and he's been here for 45 and a half years, worked for our Public Works Department. And he was the kind of guy that, I mean, he showed up all the time, but it was always, he'd ask, you know, what are we doing today? Get a job done. He said, what's our next chore? He just came and just, whatever he's asked to do, he did. And he just, I mean, everybody in the Public Works Department knew how he was. And he was kind of one of a kind. So again, Randy's there. Would you stand up just for a minute, Randy? If we added 45 to 12, that would tell us your age, so, but I won't mention it. Cindy, what were you asking? I don't know if he does. But thank you, Randy. Just some announcements. Excuse me, President. Some announcements that the Historic Society will meet on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the municipal building here. One of the projects they are working on is hopefully they can find the money to restore the old Cecil jail where it sits. And I mean, that's the goal that I've been hearing that they're still working towards. It's going to take to raise some money. I think it's going to be around $30,000 or so to renovate that building and make it available to the public to view. Our municipal offices will be closed on Monday, May 26th, in observance of Memorial Day, and normal business will resume on Tuesday, May 27th at 8 a.m. Again, we talked about Jordan Tax Services. They will be here for personal collection on Tuesday, May 20th from 9 to noon, from Friday, May 23rd from 1 to 4, and Wednesday, May 28th from 9 to noon. Also, our Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board is sponsoring a Touch a Truck event on Saturday, June 7th from 11 to 2. And I think Jack, during reports, he's going to talk about some of that event and some other events that the Parks Board is working on. I didn't give a chance for the citizens to. I would go now. If any resident has any questions or make a comment on something you see on the agenda, please feel free to do it now. If it's something unrelated or not on the agenda, we'll ask you to wait till the later part of the meeting.
Hi, Candy Wath here. I have several questions. The first one is does our Public Works Director no longer required to attend our public meetings?
He is here tonight. We asked him to be here tonight, but no,
Why
he's
doesn't
no.
he have a seat like everybody else?
Well, that's an administrative thing, Candy.
Well, it's just silly because our last Public Works Director sat up here. He had a name tag, so I would have known who he was.
Yeah.
And when you had a question, you could just read, like I could to Mr. Wolford, I could just ask him a question. And it would be no problem.
Well, if there's any blame to go around, I'll take the blame.
Questions should be directed to the board, first of all, and second of all,
Who did I
he was
direct it
in.
to?
I'm just saying, you shouldn't be directing questions to our professionals. You should be directing them to us to answer. And second of all, he was here and introduced in the past. So if you would have looked, you could have seen that he was sitting right there.
Go ahead, Candy.
When he was introduced in the past, when he was introduced originally at the past, he had a seat where Mr. Wolford was currently sitting. He has never been at that seat since. And I did not address Mr. Wolford. I was giving an example. But Mr. Wolford is also an employee of the township, so if I have a question, I don't think he would be offended if I ask him because he is a fire chief. And if it's a fire-related question, he would be the best person, not any of you, to answer my question.
Right, but your questions you might have for him, direct them to him, but it's not during a business meeting, either after if he's here, or
If
you
it's
can
a
call it the
bus-
township building.
Well, I do have an agenda meeting question.
That's fine, it's
for
an
the fire
agenda
department. Okay,
sheet.
the next question I have is, these two police vehicles, they were already approved. Do we know how much they're gonna cost like we do with the trucks for the public works?
Yes, we
Am I
do.
allowed to ask?
Yes, we do. Sean?
Yes, two of the vehicles, and the one vehicle is at $56,825. And that's through CoStars.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The next question I had is regarding the 104-2025, the open records. Does this have to do with range resources? It was discussed at the last hearing.
It does. Is there anything you want to talk about, Gretchen?
No, it's going to be, the board's going to consider and decide on whether they want to appeal a decision of the Office of Open Records related to range right to know request.
May I ask you, I'm not familiar with that, so who would you appeal it to? Would it go to like the Court of Common Pleas?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My next question was this, so regarding the compensation rate for raising the firefighters to $21, what were they currently?
17.
Okay, well, good, they deserve more than that. So I'm glad to see that we're raising it to 21. They should have been paid that first. What they
Actually,
did-
I thought that's what we expected. I just found out recently it was still only 17.
Yes, but they,
So
for what
we're-
they do, they deserve a heck of a lot more than that.
Thank you, Candy.
Hi, Donna Click, 49 Ridgewood Drive. I just have a comment about the Steel Town, the residential development. I'm assuming that ratification means you're going to approve or disapprove the plan. Is that what tonight is for?
So that is actually approval of the written decision. The board already voted on this, I believe, 2 months ago, and they have 60 days under the municipality's planning code to actually issue the written decision. So it had to go out last week so that it was timely, and now they're going to vote on, ratify.
And it's
the
basically
decision
the
itself.
conditions that we approved at the hearing.
Right.
Yeah,
I
they
think I
become
was
official
here for
part of the
that.
record.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just reduced to a formal writing.
Okay. I just have one comment about that because, like I said, I'm a member of the Cecil Friends Montour Trail. And we still have concerns about runoff, and there's some culverts that run underneath the trail. And I think they're planning on letting some of the excess runoff go through those culverts.
Wait,
And-
just one, on that issue, Dan has a comment on the stormwater.
You're welcome to come to the Planning Commission meeting. The plans will be on the agenda at the third Thursday of this month.
Third Thursday.
Yeah, so they have submitted detailed plans related to the project. The board has reviewed the overall concept and where they are. They've not seen the final plans yet, so they're working through that process. So you're welcome, and I'd encourage you to come if you have any questions or comments to that meeting.
Sure, I will. And I just wanted to say that some of those culverts that they're, depending on the use, they probably need a little attention. There may be some cracks, and, because we kind of like looked at them a little bit.
Yeah,
And-
I saw Ned here from the trail tonight, so, I mean, they're gonna obviously have some say-so in what's going on related to the trail, because I think they might want a connection to the trail from the development, so.
Yes, yeah. I just wanted,
Sure,
be aware that there may be improvements that may be asked of them.
sure.
Right, that's all I had.
Thank you, Donna. Anybody else on an agenda item? Did I see Ted? Thought I saw Ned getting up. Okay. Yeah, I might as well while we're haven't started the business part yet. The deputy public director is here in the audience with us, sitting next to Joe. It's Jeff Huseman. Huseman, jeez. And I know him too. I know his family.
Jeff was appointed deputy director last month, so he's here today.
Can you stand up so they can see who you are? You'll probably see him out on the roads at some point. Thank you, Jeff. A couple things that I think Dawn wanted to bring up. We've been getting kind of stormwater complaints from Lawrence, and I think that the municipal authority isn't done with the project completely, and we're trying to address them. And Dan, are we was this the spring or summer, we're gonna try to address the restoration there in the stormwater area that you pointed out to us?
I think that what we kind of agreed to was we were gonna defer any of that until everybody got connected in. We weren't planning to do
I
any
didn't know
of
the
that.
time, is there a time frame on that?
I thought their connections were gonna start this year. I'll look it up.
They
I know we
are,
have-
they are connecting some people in, I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I would think that would be something that the township would budget for 2026 project if you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I could have sworn we talked about this in 24 to do 25, but you're probably right. It's,
I think the advice was to defer until all the other work took
Okay.
place to make sure we weren't, over
Okay.
top of each other and there was no question on, who was responsible for what.
okay. When you give your report, you might as well do yours now. Are you going to talk about the Lawrence Park also, the drainage that we just about have done?
Yeah, I can. I mean,
Go ahead, Dan, why don't you do yours
Yeah.
now? You can be first.
there's just a couple items on my report to bring up tonight. I'll just start off with Lawrence Park. Stewart was the low quote on that work. They've started that work. They still need to finish it. They've done a portion of it, but just waiting for the weather. Obviously, we've had a lot of rain in the past week or so. Just waiting for the right time to get over there. So that's the first one to bring up. The second one, I needed some direction from the board, just making sure everybody was on the same page. Related to two things.
Jack, is that microphone on? All right.
So. Thank you. So, for direction on, DePauli Road. We've been talking about DePauli Road for a long time. We finally have a good plan here related to moving the traffic over, away from the corner of the building, putting in a curb, and then doing some line striping in this location, and that's what this plan represents. It's been our recommendation that we do a concrete curb along here. That's not the township standard, but we feel in this case it's warranted, especially to try to keep people off of here, keep people from running over a curb or so forth, genuinely push people over in this direction. So we talked to both of our low paving contractors to get a price on this, and Morgan is one of our contractors that's already on board with a contract. They're proposing to put in this curb for $21,000. The cost is strictly to cut the paving, come in, put a deep set concrete curb in this location. Their number was less than Melee, who was the second person that we asked about this. Public Works would actually then just come in, do traffic control for them while they're doing the curb, and then Public Works would backfill behind here. We've talked about putting aggregate in this inset that's going to be opened up once this put in place. So this is currently the plan. We can come back to the board with a formal change order to Morgan to do the work, but I just wanted to bring this back to the board's attention, make sure there was consensus before we move forward with it specifically.
Yeah, for residents who live on North DePauli or off North DePauli, basically we got the road pushed over more than 12 feet from where it was currently. And I think we always said every foot we move it away from that restaurant building, it increases your sight distance. Dan, was it 12 feet?
At least 12 feet, over 12 feet at this marker here, 4 feet back from the edge. So it will definitely force people over. Once people are forced over, it's going to improve the sight distance at this location.
Thank you, Dan.
This is the as-built of the road. This is actually the way it was paved. That was the holdup. We actually got a good survey on that. So the road is good. All right, I'll come back to the board on that one. And then the second one was the board authorized to proceed with demolition of the old Public Works building. So what we were asked to do was to also take a look if there would be any portion of the building that could be saved. We did take a look at it both from a structural standpoint and really from a floodplain standpoint. If you can see here, here's Miller's Run, the creek. Miller's Run Road is here to this side to the north. And what we have outlined in red here would be the demolition of essentially the old building, public works structure that actually where work took place on vehicles within the higher wall building. So I wanted to show, what this would result in, because I think the idea was that we would build some additional parking here if possible. So the next plan shows potentially the knockdown of a portion of the building, this portion remaining for storage. It would generate additional parking spaces here. I didn't count these, but approximately 20 additional parking spaces. It would also allow for more open area in the event that the creek did flood. It does provide an area that was covered by building now that would be open and that would allow the water to pass through. So that's one benefit of taking this portion down. We would still need to do some waterproofing on this building, portion of the building, but we're trying to figure out the best way to do that economically. But in the end result, I just wanted everybody to kind of get a visualization of this. If you look at the left side of the screen, this represents the existing conditions. If you look at the building, you can actually see the taller portion of the building here. Here's the lower portion of the building. This is the side view from Glass Hill Road, which is right here. So this is the actual view from Miller's Run. You can see the brick-clad portion of the front of the building. And then you can see the smaller elevation, and then it actually goes up in height. And this portion here is the portion that would be taken down. So from a pictorial standpoint, what that would look like, this would be the same view of the building. These are both the same picture. All you would see would be this rear wall would be remaining. A portion of this wall would have to remain because the joists from this building are tied into this wall. So we would take this down as low as we could go. It's a representation. We'll try to get it a little bit lower than that, but you'll still see like a blank wall at this location. This is the parking area that I showed you on the plan view. People would be able to park in here. And then if you actually look from the front of Miller's Run Road now, you see that the bigger part of the building is demolished. And this is what it would look like. You would have the front building just for storage. So this is the idea. I mean, we haven't done it. We wanted to bring this back to the board before we prepared any specifications, obviously, depending upon what the board thinks, whether we would go out for bid in this direction, which this is a good piece of building to salvage. There is a minor piece of electrical work that has to be redone, but other than that, this can be pretty simply demolished. So looking for comments, questions related to this option.
Which at the last meeting, I talked about repurposing the building, and I think there was no interest on any of the board members to repurpose the building for other uses, other than I asked if we could have Dan do this for us to look at what it would be like to save a portion of that building. And I can't express enough how much important storage is to not only us, but I talked to firemen at Muse. They could use storage. I'm sure the municipal authority is paying a premium in office space to keep all the records they have to have. It's our building right now. We have a lot of storage up there right now, and if the whole building went down, we have no clue what we would do with all that, other than try to rent space somewhere. I know Southbridge, we could probably offer some storage space for them if they needed it. But the idea that we could put if it's just all storage, it'd just be basically dry storage. It'd be conditioned just to be dehumidified. When Dan talked about the original estimate to do some real waterproofing, floodproofing, if the building was going to be repurposed, it was something like $80,000. Well, if we did the same kind of floodproofing, this is a third of the amount that would have been required at the time. But we're also investigating some other areas where it's something almost that our road department could do, and with very little cost. And but inside the big boardroom that would still remain, we could have actually aisles and racks of storage in there. And like I said, our we used to have a supervisor's room back here, us to go and keep our things, and now it's a storage room right now. We have a conference room right there, and it became a storage room. This building is kind of full for storage. We just need someplace. So, I just don't think we should tear that part of the building down whenever we can keep it for a very minimal cost. And I think if Dan does one more thing, looks into it for that, the little bit of water or floodproofing would need, we can give you a number, and I think it's going to be so low that you'll want to do it. So I think that's where we're at right now. Rather than tearing the whole building down, I think we have to consider that. So I'm not asking you to do anything now. I just want you to be aware Dan did this for us, and hopefully next month you can make a decision. Dan, anything else?
How would they make that flood-proof with the remaining building that's there?
Well, the expensive way was that they came
Putting
up
a
with was to
wall.
build a block wall around it, roughly 30 inches high. We've seen some areas where they actually use aluminum, like aluminum type coral stock, and put it against 2 feet against the building to direct water around it. Aluminum will last basically forever. And our road guys could do that, for that matter, if it came down to that. But I'm just saying that's probably would be under $5,000 to do something like that. And again, everything would be off the floor if we did have a catastrophe. I mean, the flooding wouldn't reach our boxes because we know now not to put anything on the floor. And,
Right, but how deep was the water? Or what was the
11
deepest
inches.
water that ever entered into that building?
I think it was 11 inches, but like Dan said, that now that the big part of that building's gone, that was a big obstruction. It's called, it created a surcharge of water which went into our building. Now, if that building's gone, that water can blow across that paved lot, and it'll rise a lot less than it did as if that building is blocking the water. So, I mean, we might, if we get flooded every 7 years, we might not get it flooded till every 11 or 12 years, for that matter. I mean, you never know that, but the flood proofing would work on it. And again, like I said, it's not an occupied building. We would have had to do an extra good job if the police department was going to be using it, and if the EMS and the road department were going to use it. We would actually have to do a perfect job. So I'm just saying, well, let's think about it for this month, and I'll have it on the agenda for next month.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
I think that's it for me. Other items on the agenda.
All right. Sean, do you have anything?
I do. I'd like to announce Cecil Township was ranked #1 safest city township in Pennsylvania. And it matters because the safety is top priority for many Americans. Cecil Township is standing out as a place where people feel protected, neighbors look out for each other, and the community invests in safety paying off. So I think I sent the email to all the board members, or Dawn did this morning. So I think it's the second time we were recognized for that, so.
Jack, did you have those headlines put up there?
I do not. I apologize.
We'll have it for next month.
Okay. Sorry about
I
that.
could share that with you.
Okay, thanks.
That's all I have.
Please.
We'll go out to the reports, but if she can get it to you, I want people to see that. It's really,
Want me to do it right now?
well, she said she can email it to you, and then
Yeah.
get it up. Yeah, we'll go on to the next report. Is that it, Sean?
Yes.
All right. Well, Jack, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Ted, you have anything?
Yeah, we're moving along with the merger. We have one item, one of our items on the agenda tonight is to get the new fire department established. We have officers picked, so you'll announce that when that agenda item comes up. Also, we've been busy this past month. We ended the month with 95 calls. 32 of those were last week during the storms.
Thank you, Ted. Dan? Okay. I'm gonna go into some resolutions, but we will get that headline, but it's just really, because, let's see. Okay, resolution number 90-2025, it's to consider the change order number 3 to the Cecil Township Public Works plumbing contract to First American Industries in the amount of $1,450.76. It's to install an additional gas regulator to a certain station.
Yeah, this particular item, we've been going back and forth with Columbia Gas related to the issue at the municipal building, or the new Public Works building. They weren't initially able to supply enough gas to the building, although they've never said that all along. We checked the meter out, everything else, they finally agreed to increase the gas pressure. So when you increase the gas pressure, that can have an effect on equipment in the building. Initially, there was a thought that everything would need regulators, but the only item in the building that needs a regulator is the air handling unit, because it's a larger scale. So they'll turn the gas pressure up, and then this will address issues related to the gas service. So it's just one regulator that has to be put on that unit. That's what that's for.
Is there a motion to approve that change order?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. For number 91-2025, it's to consider application number 2025-0004 for the Alto Piano Phase 3 revised Lot 311 subdivision plan. The applicant is Graziano Homes, and it's in the Alto Piano development.
Yeah, just quickly, this is just lot 311 being subdivided off a larger parcel. The roads are already in. You've approved a number of these plans already. There's no comments, technical comments. The plan's ready.
It's just a simple subdivision.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve that revised lot?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. For number 92-2025, it's to consider application number 2025-0005 for the Koski Muse Plan Number 2 subdivision plan, contingent on addressing comments from the township engineer.
Yeah, they've addressed my comments. Just a brief on the plan. This is Burnside Road. This is a further subdivision of the property that Mr. Koski owns along Burnside. It has sewer service down through Muse. There's a sewer that comes onto the property. He's proposing to modify the current commercial lot to be a little bit larger, which is lot 2R, and creating a few more lots here, lots 4, 5, and 6. And then this is the remnant property that's left. So all the lots comply with required acreages, 5-acre lots. That's it.
And I think this will be our first development since South Point finished off. Our Cool Valley development is kind of struggling along, but we've been trying to cooperate with that. But our interest all the time is to help increase our commercial development to really sustain our tax base. So we wish him well with it once he gets underway. But it is located on Burnside Road, as Dan said. The Planning Commission approved it, or recommended approval on April 14th. So is there a motion to approve?
I'll
the
make a
subdivision?
motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 93-2025, it's to consider hiring of Andrew Alderson as a part-time summer park employee at an hourly rate of $18 per hour. Is there a motion to approve that appointment?
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. The motion carries. For item number 94-2025, it's consider hiring of Jim Pasher as a part-time summer park employee at an hourly rate of $18 per hour.
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 95-2025, consider hiring of David Shodel as a laborer with the Department of Public Works, subject to the terms and conditions of our union contract. The effective start date would be May 6th, 2025.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 96-2025, consider hiring of Albert DeCello as a laborer with the Department of Public Works, subject to the terms and conditions of the union contract, an effective starting date also of May 6th. Is there a
So-
motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For number 97-2025, it's to consider the promotion of John Eccles to the open position of Public Works Foreman, effective May 6th.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. Jack, you ready? Oh, look at this. Scroll down. I think the headlines are above it with our name in it.
No, scroll up.
I mean,
It was
okay,
right there.
that's what I meant.
It's right here. Number 1, Cecil Township.
Down in
But what I saw was big headlines, Cecil Township named the safest area to live in Pennsylvania. So I guess I got a different kind of an email, so that's what I was hoping you can see, but,
Yeah, there it is.
okay, all right.
So it doesn't, I don't think you'll find it, but it's based off the latest FBI crime data. So that's how
If you
they-
click on Cecil Township, it'll tell you.
Takes me all the way to
Dan
the,
Upper Ellen.
takes me all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, that's all we, all right.
else to
But anyhow, you know, show what we were trying to show you. It's really an honor.
15,000.
And thank you for that, Sean, too.
Thank you.
You've had something to do with it. Where are we? All right, for 98-2025, it's considered as a past practice, a donation of $500 to the Cecil American Legion to help offset the cost of their Memorial Day luncheon to be held on Monday, May 26th, right after the ceremony. It is a community event open to the public.
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. For item number 99-2025, it's to consider the purchase of 2 Ford F-350 crew cab trucks with service body for the Public Works Department at a cost of $88,118 each. It is a CoStarz program where the state has already, CoStar's already bid it for us, so it's the best price we'll ever get. Payment will be made from our township's road machinery account. Is there a motion to approve those?
moved.
The purchase? And it is budgeted for, too. Our budget includes these, yes.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. For item number 100-2025, it's to consider the purchase of 2 Ford SUV police vehicles per the approved 2025 budget. This also is a CoStarz program. And the amount of the purchase will be $56,825.
Per vehicle.
Per vehicle.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you for backing me up. Item number 101-2025, it's a considered ordinance number 6-2025 of the Township of Cecil, Washington County, Pennsylvania, amending the following sections of the Vehicle and Traffic Ordinance as amended. It will be section 226-41, section D, to establish a permit parking area on Wildwood Drive. And again, Gretchen, I know you explained that we already have the ordinance in place. This is just adding a street. It'd be the first street added.
That's correct.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. This item number 102-2025, we did officially or informally discuss it at our last meeting about given our solicitor direction to start work on creating it. But this will be a formal motion from our board. It's item number 102-2025. It's to consider authorizing the establishment of a new Cecil Volunteer Fire Department 501c3 organization, naming Brigham Bloom as president, Ron Stanton as vice president, and Ed Poverick as secretary treasurer. We did get the names submitted from our steering committee to have them the initial officers in this. To form a 501, our solicitor needs the names of the officers to plug them in to send it off to the state. Once our organization is formed, then that the fire department can reorganize internally however they want. And if they want to have nominations, if they want to add 5 board members to their agency, but this just gets us started so we can create the agency or the organization. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. For number 103-2025, it's to consider ratification of the Steel Town Planned Residential Development decision, as it was explained earlier. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries, Carol 4-1. For number 104-2025, it's to consider filing an appeal of the Office of Open Records final determination upon reconsideration of the consolidated docket number AP-2024-2919. And again, Gretchen explained it a little bit, but there were a lot of decisions made. Some were in our favor, a couple that we think that were in error. So it's not all of them. It's just a few that we think that that were privileged information, and we're going to at least consider filing an appeal. So we need the board approval for that. So is there a motion to
So moved.
file that appeal? It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I recuse myself.
The motion carries, Carol, 4-0-1 recusal. Number 105-2025, it's to consider the purchase of 1 new AED unit for the new Public Works building from Zoll Medical at a cost of $2,338.28.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The motion carries. For item number 106-2024, I'm going to ask to table this motion. Our fire chief is still working on that, and he doesn't have a name to give us just today.
I'll make a motion to table.
It's been moved to table. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 107-2025, it's to consider raising the hourly rate of compensation for part-time firefighters to $21 per hour.
So moved.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 108-2025, is to consider an addendum agreement 2025-2029 between Cecil Township and the Teamsters Local Union number 205, representing blue-collar, non-professional workers, to remove probationary period for insurance benefits. I think it's in the contract. We have been in agreement to not make them wait for months if they sign on with us, to have to wait for insurance coverage. And we need to act on this if the board so approves.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The motion carries. For item number 109-2025, it's to consider the Board of Supervisors minutes of the Monday, April 7th, regular monthly meeting.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For item number 110-2025, it's to consider the general fund invoices from April 1st through April 30th, 2025.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Now, at this time, our residents, if you have any comments you'd like to make that are unrelated, question you have to ask, please come up to the
Jack has
microphone
something.
and give us her name. Oh, Jack, go ahead. Yeah, and you were going to give a report too. Oh, sorry. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Dan has covered everything.
building and zoning wise for tonight. So I'm just going to kind of go over a little event we had in the park over the weekend. 2025 Cecil Township Fishing Derby. It's the 5th annual fishing derby. Took some pictures of some happy kids that were fishing for the first time or fishing for the 101st time, but everybody had a pretty good day. Along with our friends from Sturgeon Volunteer Fire Department, they call themselves the Pennsylvania Bass Hunters. We put on the 5th annual event, 8 designated fishing holes from, can't believe I'm saying this, the old Public Works building all the way to the line with Dollar General behind the police station. We staked that property actually along Miller's Run Creek on Thursday morning, and basically posted it and asked that there be no fishing until the derby was over, which was Saturday at 1 p.m. That same day, we stocked Miller's Run, those 8 separate holes, with 450 rainbow trout from anywhere between 12 and 20 inches long. That was sponsored by Range Resources. The one good thing coming away from stocking it that early, usually, Mr. Chairman, we stock it the Friday before, and that gives them plenty of time to acclimate. But due to scheduling with Laurel Hill Trout Farm coming out of Somerset, PA, they could only make it on Thursday. So we had to figure out a way to keep the fish within the parameters of the park because they do like to swim downstream. And the other constant threat is egrets. And yes, we do have egrets in Cecil Township. When you see one grab a 20-inch fish and swallow it whole, yeah, we got an egret problem. But 450 fish, I think they had their fill and they moved on. The fire whistle start on Saturday morning was at 10 a.m. By 10:05, kids were pulling out fish like they've never seen before. So that was the plus from walking away from fishing or stocking it 2 days early as opposed to the day of or the day before. Some even caught bluegill. Now, I wasn't aware that there were bluegill in here, but the state has stocked Miller's Run Creek 3 times before we stocked it for the 4th time for the Derby. One of the different bait that was used, they liked, the bluegill love night crawlers. Well, they were hitting on those left and right. But they also like something called power bait. So power bait sales probably will increase after this weekend because trout love power bait. One of the great things about the way we set up the fishing derby this year was if somebody did not have a pole, a rig, or bait, we provided it for them. And that allowed several little ones to fish for the first time. And, when they catch that first fish, I knowing full well what it is to catch your first fish, it's priceless. And the expression on their face, let me see what happened here. Boy, that went fast. Let me run it again. Cabela's donated 20 poles that we are going to keep, we're going to maintain, and we're going to have ready for each fishing event from now on. Honestly, there's not a bad place to fish in Cecil Park. That's before we stocked it and definitely afterwards. Noticing how many people are actually catching fish. Some people are catching 3, 4 at a time. The limit is getting close there, about 5. So everybody's getting everything they're looking for. Some of the contestants wanted to throw their fish back, and others had the opportunity to clean them. One of the things our friends from Sturgeon Volunteer Fire Department did is they set up a cleaning station, and they taught kids how to clean fish properly. We tagged 5 of the fish. That actually only 1 tagged fish was caught, and there was a special prize for that youngster that we do have. I believe there's a picture up here. There he is right there. So he caught that tagged fish and walked away with a nice new fishing rod. As always, Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board, we're forging the way, making it bigger and better each and every time, and we certainly want to do that in the coming years. Some of the contestants shown here, there's more actually on our Facebook page, so there's plenty more pictures that were taken. Every contestant was treated to a hot dog, chips, and a drink just for signing up. Over 90 students, or excuse me, students I wish, only 90 kids actually signed up. Parents came along, so the park was pretty full, even after it started raining at about 11 o'clock. Ages range from 2 to 15. In the state of Pennsylvania, you don't need a license to fish when you're under 16 years of age, so this year we opened it up to 15-year-olds as well. They all braved the inclement weather and competed for prizes throughout. This was not one of those events where everybody got a medal. Kids got a medal for the first fish caught, and I believe you'll see one of that picture on here, but there were medals for all sorts of things. But of course, we have a lot of people that we need to thank as well. Many thanks go to our friends at the Senior Center, like Sean Arendt, Kenny Terzic, Carol Hammerly, Tony Gianmario, and Jean Pucci for their efforts in making the concession stand and the bake sale successful. The list of bakers for the bake sale should be coming up here in a minute. Also want to thank our friends from West Penn Bass Hunters for sharing their time and their talents. They actually, you'll see a picture here where they had a pitching workshop where it taught kids how to cast a rod, no matter what kind, whether it was open bail or Zebco, closed bail type system. They taught them how to cast it and put it in a 5-gallon bucket. We look forward to many more collaborations in the future. Also want to thank Pine Richland Junior ROTC and their honor guard for coming out and helping us kick off the event with flag raising, national anthem, etc. Want to thank Chief Sean Bukovinsky and the best police force in Western Pennsylvania that ultimately makes Cecil the best it can be. For everything that they do each and every day, and for your patience with me, no matter what I'm trying to organize. You guys really are the ones that come through in the end. Thanks to Lieutenant Rich Agizio, Sergeant Sean McNaughton for keeping watch on the park as, yeah, we've got poachers in Cecil Township. So we had some kids that wanted to kind of sneak in, say they didn't see the signs. I put 35 signs out there that said no fishing, but they didn't see them. And thank you for keeping the integrity of that. Thanks to Joe Hers and Jeff Huseman. One of the problems when I found out that we were going to be stocking on Thursday instead of Friday is I didn't want those fish swimming downstream and ended up in front of Cassiola's or the Marathon or something like that. So came up with the idea of putting some type of snow fence or some type of barrier right at the edge of the property. And one day I was walking out and our Fish and Game Commission representative was standing out here because they were stalking it for the third time. And I said, hey, can I do this? And he said, well, if it's only temporary, you can. So Dawn tracked down, with the help of Joe and Jeff, tracked down some of that old orange snow fence, and we had it strung across right down at the edge here. So for the most part, until it rained Friday morning, it kept the fish up on our side of the line. So that was very successful. Also want to thank Rick Trushell for always keeping the park manicured and clean. Behind it all is one of the hardest working boards I've ever been associated with, in part because of the demands, of these events, pulling them all together. There's so many moving parts in these events. And I just want to thank Wendy Johnson for her leadership, Arden staff, Barb Russman, Heather Manda, Nicole Lewis, and our newest member, Lauren Eyrig. Never had the pleasure of working with more creative group anywhere. There is so much more in the pipeline that these creative minds have to offer. So stay tuned. participate, volunteer. We still have an open position on the board, so if anybody wants to join, please send your resume and a letter of interest to Don Januso, and his email address is on our website. Finally, Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned earlier, we lost an original this past week. We had to say goodbye to Arlene Curry. As the chairman said, postmistress for many years, a founding member of the Parks and Recreation Board. She was very integral in the success of all the events, even to her last day. Believe it or not, a week ago she called me from her hospital room and said, "You better get me that menu for the May event." I'm like, "Okay, Arlene, I'll get it to you. I'll get it, and I'm coming up there to see you." "Okay, well, you send it to me before that." I said, "Okay, no problem." Played an integral part in actually starting the original Indian Summer Festival, if you recall that. Arlene was a daughter, she was a sister, she was a wife, she was a mother. Most importantly, Arlene Curry was a friend. As my mother's best friend in Cecil High School back in the 50s, Arlene knew me my entire life. She was a hard worker, she was tough, she was reliable, but oh, was she good. Everything she did, she was good at. If you asked her to do something, she would do it quickly, efficiently, and under budget. She always knew where the best deals were. However, if she told you to do something, you had better do it. Never be another Arlene Curry. She'll be sorely missed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I do want to add one thing, though, when you said that there were poachers in the township. The ones that the police caught and cuffed and got their IDs, they were all from out of the township.
That's right.
Anybody else? Oh, I missed our solicitor for a report, and I think she has something important.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board has my solicitor's report, but just a couple updates on some of our litigation matters. We had, as you know, Mark West filed a procedural challenge to one of our oil and gas ordinances. Judge Lucas dismissed that case today pursuant to a joint motion by the parties. Range Resources has filed a substantive validity challenge, and we've had several hearings before the zoning hearing board. That case is currently in a briefing schedule for dismissal, so we'll be briefing and arguing whether to dismiss the case at this point soon. There'll be some ads for when that argument will be taking place. I'm guessing it might be in June or July. And then we also have one case in the Commonwealth Court, and that is the Shane variance case. That's at the briefing stage. In terms of news, I know some of you all have been following. I've raised before this push at the state level to control zoning at the state level, and I've been, kind of interested in following some of these House bills. There's actually another House bill, if you're interested in following this. It's House Bill 502. It creates a lightning plan and what they call a reset board. This particular bill sets forth an energy independence plan that essentially forces communities to accept grid scale power plants wherever this reset board determines they should go. The reset board would be made up of state cabinet officials and appointees, and basically they would make decisions on the siting. Now, siting could not happen for these plants. Siting could not happen if the property is zoned residential or the project was previously denied, but otherwise they would have a lot of leeway in terms of siting. So just another, there's kind of been a trend of state level zoning. So if you're interested in it and you are interested in speaking out against it or speaking for it, you should comment. You can comment through PSATs, or you can comment to your local legislators. That's it. Yep.
Thank you, Gretchen. Any other residents had any comments to make? Any general things? All right, is there any other old business board members want to bring up? Or new business? I do have the one item of new business. I had talked to our fire department steering committee, and years ago, the township had a separate fire tax. and it was a separate item you saw for millage on the, our tax bills. And it would say, here's your Cecil Township General Fund taxes of, say, 15 mills. And we had, at the time, 2 mills for road machinery, and I think it went up to 3 mills for our volunteer fire departments. And a few years ago, we incorporated the fire tax into the general fund and to pay all the bills from the general fund rather than a special tax. But I think the fire department, they always would rather have seen it reinstated. And I think it'll look good and speak more for your involvement if you see on your tax bill a fire tax that you're paying. We're working on to see whether it would say the actual amount, like say $100 for the fire service, or if it might be just 0.5 mils. We're working on it right now to consider bringing it back, and I've been talking to the board about it, and they think that'll do more for helping bringing our volunteers out. Not necessarily bring new volunteers on, but we have a lot of volunteers that really haven't attended much, and they seem to think that would help some of our volunteers who are on the rolls to come out, more often, basically. So we're hoping that does have an effect, but we will be working on that to consider it for our 2026 budget. We start that budget work talking in October, and that it will be a subject that we will bring up at our public hearings also about our budget. So anybody else have anything? There being no further business, going once, going twice, this meeting is declared adjourned. Thank you.
Nice report, Jack. What's that? Nice report. I knew I was going to have to read it, but I was going to get messy at the end there. Hey, John.
I'll tell you what, you see the hits on you ought to see my Facebook status. Did you see it?
I talked to John.
I was going to say, I was going to figure it might be you.
I-38 was maybe down where you were. The old township building was 515. On the opposite side of the road. Yeah, that's okay, that's right there, that's where old Mosty's gas station.
That's what you wrote about, is I said I cleaned it up a little bit.
Well, yeah, let's invest in this. Let's invest in this.